at the same time, I realized that I was mayor. And just maybe I can do something about this. Little did I know what would transpire. I came back home and I told my staff, I said, you know, just what if? And those are profound. I love answering those what if questions. Question of my life, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? That's a question I ask myself all the time. In fact, you come to my office, you'll see a big plaque that says, what would you do? What would you try to achieve? Who would you try to become if you knew you could not fail? And so be reminded of those words when I came back. I said, well, what would it take to marry people in San Francisco? And everyone sat there cross-eyed and said, well, what do you mean? And what are you suggesting? Now, I was very proud. I had the first openly gay chief of staff in San Francisco history. And he, in particular, was concerned. And he said, well, it just simply can't be done. I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we have a letter to our county clerk and ask her? We're a city and county ministers' marriage licenses, and so I simply asked her to come back. Now, I assumed that it would be months before she came back with some very complicated legal opinion, explaining why it couldn't be done or could be done and what the risks were, et cetera. She came back, I kid you not, just hours later and said, Mr. Mayor, it's as simple as this. I just go on the computer, and where it says spouse and groom, I just have to type in applicant 1 and applicant 2. Rather dispassionate, but it was as simple as that. And therein, I was left with a choice of what to do. And what I wanted to do was this. I wanted to put a human face on the issue. I didn't want to sit there powerless and watch the president change the Constitution that's been changed 17 times since the Bill of Rights. And each and every time, it had been changed to expand people's rights. It had been used to abolish slavery. The Constitution was changed to allow women the right to vote. It had never been used to write in discrimination in a formal manner, certainly in this century. And it was at that moment that we said, what about that couple, Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin? A couple that had been together at the time 52 years. Talk about love and devotion and faith, love made visible. And what if we could just marry them before the courts open up at 9 a.m. to try to stop us? And then use their life, their narrative, their story, their history, and then advance a constitutional challenge to Prop 22 that was passed by the voters by 61% in 2000. And that's what we did. The difference, though, the thing that we never anticipated, is at 9:01, the courts didn't shut us down. We had gotten them in at about 8:30 because word got out we may be doing this. And they tried to get an SRO, they tried to get a restraining order, they tried to do everything to stop us. And then we had some other couples there saying, well, what about us? Well, I know we've only been together 40 years. And we said, well, it doesn't seem right to deny you. That afternoon, they submitted, this group from Southern California ran up there, submitted, and apparently they filled out the form wrong, and the judge said, I'm sorry, come back tomorrow. So we're a few more dozen couples that we married that night. And you thought the sky had fallen in, the world come to an end. Democrats, Republicans, I was just being feted. Newsweek, rising star Democrat, tough fought campaign, but this young man is going places, 35 years old, mayor of a wonderful city. It's over. Ask my father, Irish Catholic judge, still struggling with this issue. Why did you feel the need to do this? Why would you do this? You just won. Everything is possible. Went from there that we were able to marry 4,037 couples from 46 states and 8 countries around the world. It was extraordinary. Again, it was never intended. It was just to put a human face on what I believe is discrimination. Now, here's why. Jennifer brought it up. Here's why I feel so passionately